YouTube, Mark here with another fragrance review. This time let's delve into the house of Serge Lutens. This is actually my very first full-fledged review on this house. I decided to go with the masterpiece, the classic. Most of you know which one I'm talking about. My very first purchase from this house, namely called Chergui. Now Chergui, a classic. You guys know a lot of your favorite reviewers have reviewed this fragrance. If you're new to the Serge Lutens house, his creations are rich, they're dark. Most of them, with some exceptions, are great for fall and winter, especially in these Canadian fall days. Including Chergui is great. His fragrances sometimes are deemed simple yet refined. Many people that don't like the Serge Lutens house say scents are only base notes. They're missing a creativity of the top, mid, and base. These are harder to wear. Some of these are harder to wear, in my opinion. I love the complexity of these fragrances, and Chergui, I think, is the masterpiece of the Serge Lutens house. The Serge Lutens house is actually one of my favorite fragrance houses of all time, just because they do challenge my nose in some ways. This fragrance right here, Chergui, is one of the most popular Serge Lutens. I would say probably the most popular. When someone delves into this house, I would highly recommend to go into Chergui, but most people do go Chergui first. It would be hard to argue that this is one of the best sellers in the brand. It used to be an exclusive and was going to be in the rotation. Now it's actually full-fledged, available everywhere. This fragrance house is a house that a true scent head would love. They're works of art. Fragrances that I love putting my nose to and dissect. Chergui, what does Chergui mean? Chergui, funny enough, means Moroccan dry desert wind. It actually reminds me of Andy Towers' release, of course, called L'Art du Désert Marocain, which is actually French for that exact same title. So it's funny to see Serge Lutens and Andy Towers' representation in fragrances of the same thing. Very interesting. Now Serge Lutens, of course, lived in Morocco, so he does know a little bit about it. His fragrances are complex, resinous, deep, lots of woods, lots of spice, and dry fruit. So you're going to see a lot of that in his fragrances. So let's get to the fragrance review on Chergui. Let's take a look at presentation. Alright guys, time to tackle presentation, bottle and the box. Let's take a look at a few things here. First and foremost, it comes with a little pamphlet here, Parfum Serge Lutens, and it's just a rundown of the perfume house. But this should be included in the box. Now the box itself, as you can see, very plain. It says Chergui, Serge Lutens. This is the old format, just to let you know. It won't have the picture of the palais anymore. It's going to be SL, the new logo of Serge Lutens. This is actually an older bottle. You should have some information at the bottom. Some in the back here. I don't think there's anything up top. And then you're going to have your batch code down here. As far as the bottle goes, it comes with this splash top, and then you have to actually put in the sprayer. And yeah, the cap, of course, fits very, very well. And this is what it looks like. As you can see, I used quite a bit of juice of my Chergui. You can see the juice is very, very dark, so definitely don't spray that on a white shirt. And it's very simplistic, right? Rectangular bottle. And this is, again, the old logo. Or you're going to have SL on your bottle if you purchase it. The cap, plastic cap, hard plastic. And the sprayer is actually pretty good. There's a sticker at the bottom just to let you know. And sprayer, not bad. And that's it for presentation. Let's take a look at Chergui. Alright guys, let's tackle bottle sizes for Chergui. You're looking at it. 1.7 ounce, 50 milliliter bottle. Concentration is EDP, by the way. You're looking at around, I believe the price went up on Chergui. I believe it's around $140 now retail. Shop around. You can find this for around $100 to $150 American to purchase it. I believe FragranceNet has it available sometimes at a reduced rate, so go check that out. Also, if you go to the Salon in Paris, you can find Chergui, or you can get Chergui in a bell jar, which is a little bigger. It's 75 milliliter. Unfortunately, you don't get the spray top with the bell jar, but you get an absolutely gorgeous presentation though. Now, Chergui hit the shelf back in 2001. It won actually a few awards. This one hit it up when I first started doing niche top 10, top 20 lists. I first started in 2010 in the fall. That was my very first list, including niche. It was a top 10 for fall. This guy made it at number 1. The year after that, it made both my fall and winter top 20 niche for 2011. In the fall, it made it still a high score at number 4, and then in the winter at number 14. So you can see this is my top 5 basically in the fall. I absolutely love wearing this fragrance in the fall. Group, this is an oriental spicy fragrance to the true sense of the word. Definitely beautiful oriental. Serge knows his orientals, I'll tell you that. His parfumier, which is an in-house parfumier for him, he does most or all fragrances for the Serge Lutens house. This is Christopher Sheldrake. I believe he is a master parfumier. Definitely a great nose out there. Now, recommended age for Chergui, I would say 20 and up. I'm kind of staying away from the high schoolers. I really think that this one would be best if you were a little more grown up. This is a unisex based fragrance. I could see a woman rocking this definitely, but it does have a lot of manly character, but also has some powderiness and some sweetness that some women will like. That honeyed sweetness is very nice. So 20 and up for your recommended age for this guy. How many sprays and where? My usual. I go 1 on the chest and 2 on the neck right behind the ears. That's great for fall. For winter, I try to hit up a little bit more. I do maybe an extra shot right in the back here, hit my hairline in the back here, and you're good to go. A little more in the winter would be great for this one. Now let's take a look at the notes. Top notes, we got tobacco leaf and honey. In the middle we got orris and or iris, sandalwood, hay sugar, and in the base we got amber, musk, incense, and rose. Basically, you're going to feel every single note in this fragrance. This is a tobacco amber-based fragrance, but what really sets this apart is the honey. The honeyed sweetness is absolutely gorgeous in this fragrance, and the hay sugar. The hay in here gives you a dryness that I haven't really felt in any other fragrance, and this is what sets this apart from any other niche or designer fragrance on the market today. Let's sniff Chergui out, and I'm going to let you guys know what I get from transition from top to bottom. Let's go. Alright boys, time to dissect Chergui. Let's spray this sucker on. I'm going to let you guys know what this smells like from top to bottom. This is actually my scent of the day. I am going to swim in it today. I absolutely love this fragrance. Chergui, a classic. Let's smell this fragrance. Now the top note. Oh. Man, like, this is classic. Top note, tobacco and honey notes are predominant. It's musky, it's sweet. Of course, the infamous dry hay note with drizzling warm honey, which makes this very warm, cozy even. Really, really warm, comforting fragrance, really cozy. The opening may shock you, especially if you're into safe scent. So if you're really delving into the niche side of things and this may be your first one, this really may get to you. You're like, whoa, what is going on here? Hold on. Either if you have a little spray sample, keep it with you, test out other fragrances, revisit it. I'm telling you, the opening may shock you if you're into safe scents, but revisit it, okay? Now the honeyed sweetness is almost syrupy in this one. Think brown sugar, almost caramelized. Not too sweet to call it cloying. It can get cloying in the heat though. Now the powder in here comes out tenfold in this top note. This is the iris coming out, that floral note. It's powdery, white powder. In this will be picked up by most people. When I was testing this, when I was walking around, it's getting a little too warm or I wore a little too much of this fragrance, the first thing that people came up to me and said, you smell like baby powder, they can smell the sweetness from the vanilla. That is the thing that people smelt from Chergui right off the bat. When it was a little warm, I wore too much and they were far away. This thing is beast mode as far as longevity and projection, just to let you know. But that's just to let you guys know a little tip. But when they come close to you, especially when this dries down a little bit, They get the full rich effect of Chergui, the absolutely greatness of it. So if you do get that in your nose, the powderiness and the sweetness from the vanilla, tone it down a little bit and you'll see that you're going to get that richness, the dry hay, the drizzling warm honey. Absolutely gorgeous. A little bit of tobacco in here. Let's go into the mid. The mid. That sweet hay-like dryness comes up in the mid. And this is where this fragrance shines. It's sharing the spotlight with the tobacco. The tobacco comes in. Tobacco is almost like a pipe tobacco. It really reminds me of my grandfather's pipe. Actually found it in an attic when I was living with my mom, and I found this pipe and it was very dry. It was in a leather pouch, really worn, and it hasn't been smoked in years, of course. And I smelt that pipe tobacco, very dry in that pouch, hasn't been smoked in years, but it still had that resinous feel to it, that tobacco-like in it. Chergui, this is what it reminds me of. The iris peaks up, blends perfectly with the rest of the notes, so you're still going to get that floral white iris note that a lot of people get, powdery. In the mid, both the top and the base notes morph together like a symphony. It's gorgeous. You get the tobacco, the sweetness from the honey, a little bit of iris, the woods from the sandalwood, the amber, the muskiness, the smokiness from the incense, a little bit of spice, just a perfect aura, a perfect bubble. This stage reminds me of Black to Black by Killian meets Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford meets a little bit of tea for two, a little bit of almost like a tea-like note in here, and some spice. Put those three together, which are three major, I love these, all three of these fragrances. Put them together and you almost get this mid of this fragrance. It really felt like you were in the middle of the desert, sun-kissed warm skin, warm sand between your toes, you got a leathery backpack, some cigars in your pocket, your front pocket. This stage kind of reminded me of Lauds des Arts Marocains from Andy Tower. So again, two parfumiers, Serge Lutens, or parfumiers, two heads, Andy Tower, Serge Lutens, trying to give you, invoke a memory of their life in the Moroccans. Of course, a warm desert air. This is Serge Lutens' emphasis on it, but then you got Andy Tower. So I believe if you got Andy Tower's fragrance, Lauds des Arts, perhaps you can overlook Chergui. Definitely just get a sample, see it. That hay note in here is absolutely gorgeous. Now in the base basically ends the same way of the mid. It doesn't really transform to anything. You do get a good dose of that amber vanilla. Some will think powdery. The sandalwood is still there. It doesn't change much from the mid, to be honest. It just basically dies down. So let's get to the overview. Alright guys, welcome to the overview on Serge Lutens' Chergui. First thing that comes to mind when I smell Chergui is that it feels very cozy, very warming and comforting to me. This scent basically takes me back to skiing trips, brings me back to snowmobiling trips, especially in the cool weather. After a day of snowmobiling or skiing, I showered, I'm still kind of cold, I'm wearing a sweater, and I'm cozying up with my wife in front of a crackling fire. Definitely this fragrance kind of reminds me of those moments, very warm, comforting, and this fragrance, sometimes I actually wear this to bed. I spray a couple sprays and I'm going to bed, and it really just brings me back to that moment. Very warm and comforting, especially in the cooler months. Now this fragrance, some people say, some reviewers online say this is a little hard to wear. It depends on the wearer. I really feel like Chergui might take you aback when you're first time smelling this fragrance. You're not used to complex or dark scents like Chergui. When you feel the magic with this fragrance, some people will attest to this. Sometimes it takes you to wearings, 5, 10 times, maybe revisit a sample years later of Chergui. Once it clicks in your head, you're like, oh, this is what they're talking about Chergui. Yes, yes. It's not that hard to wear. I wear this in the fall, in the winter, during the day, going to bed, wear it at night, casually. This fragrance is not really that hard to wear compared to a lot of Serge Lutens fragrances. So this one's actually kind of versatile comparing it to the other from the line. Now this fragrance is beast mode as far as projection and longevity goes. I mean, definitely you're going to get your money's worth. It's not one of those beast modes that, you know, you're going to choke out some people with this fragrance. Yeah, if you wear a little too much, they're going to smell like baby powder and vanilla. But if you wear just the right amount, they are going to get closer and enjoy the magic of Chergui. Trust me, they get closer and closer, and they're going to smell that dry Hainaut drizzled with warm honey, with a little bit of tobacco in the background. Very, very nice. Now this fragrance, that Hainaut, that great, sweet, honeyed, hay-like note that I never encountered before in any fragrance, ever. The hay and the honey is the superstar in this fragrance. No doubt about it. Perfectly blended. The honey, well made. Very nice, great sweetness. The hay note, very dry, and that's what sets Chergui apart from any other amber-based, tobacco-based fragrance that you've smelt before. That hay note just sets it apart from all those other guys, and this is why this is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. Now this fragrance is a little heavy on the rich amber. It's rich though, smooth, well put together. I can't even put it into words, guys, the way this fragrance does for me. It is a winner in my books. This is by far my favorite Lutens scent. I've tested out, as you can see from pictures in this review, I have several Serge Lutens fragrances. I can go as far as pegging this one as one of my favorite niche scents of all times. This fragrance deserves the praise that it's getting. It's a masterpiece, and I believe it is the first to try from the Serge Lutens house. It's thick, it's heavy, it's warm, it's sweet, it's syrupy, and it's rich, it's dry. That Hainaut, great balance. Why would you hate this fragrance? Why? There's no reason to hate it. Yes, there's always reasons to hate it. Everybody's taste is different. If you've tested out a few Serge Lutens fragrances before and you haven't tackled Chergui, I believe that you probably won't like this fragrance. It's around the same genre. There's fragrances like Arabi, Fumeri Turk, are around what this fragrance is, Oriental-like. A lot of people over-apply this fragrance, wear it in the warm weather. It's good in the warm weather, but if you over-apply, it's killer, guys. It's going to be too sweet. That sweetness is going to attack your nose, and the powdery feeling in this fragrance will also attack your nose. And those are the two main culprits. You over-apply, you put it in the warm weather, that powdery sweetness. If you're pretty new to complex scents, this one you're probably going to hate it from first try. Trust me. And some people say this fragrance is linear. It is linear. Like, what you smell is what you get, but it's complex, guys. In a way, it's complexity. It's not going to give you many different heads, but definitely Chergui is a winner in my books, even though some people say it's linear. Now, one word to describe this fragrance would have to be warm. It is warming. Bottles. From the Serge Lutens house, there is a few that kind of remind me of Chergui, namely Arabi and Fumeri Turk. They're going to remind you of Chergui in a way. They're not exactly the same, of course not. Bulgari Black, if you're into designers, that vanilla-like tea, a little bit of spice. Bulgari Black, sorta, not in the same game though. And of course my composition of Back to Black meets Tobacco Vanille meets Tea for Two is what the mid of this fragrance reminds me of, definitely. Best time to wear this fragrance? Christmas time. This is great Christmas time. Thanksgiving. Great for fall. These Canadian fall days. I love wearing Chergui. As you can see, it was #1 and #4 2 years in a row. Compliment factor. This fragrance, funny enough, most reviewers say poor with this fragrance. For me, compliment factor was high. When you finally get into Chergui and you wear it, I wouldn't say they were wearing it incorrectly, no. But when you have the right mesh of spraying it 2-3 times on your skin and the weather's perfect, this fragrance is going to draw people closer and closer to you. The closer they get, the more complex this fragrance gets. They're going to get a little bit of something. They're going to get a little more hay. They're going to get a little more of the tobacco, a little bit more of that sweet honey. Definitely great. But then again, if you over apply, this thing is killer. They're going to say, you smell like baby powder, you smell like vanilla. So it could go either way depending on the weather outside and of course how much you wear. My 2 cents. I think I've said enough about Chergui to let you guys know how I feel about this fragrance. All I can say is buy a sample. If you don't like it, keep the sample. Don't trade it for something else. Keep smelling things, put it in a drawer, come back to it months later, or even years later, and let me know how you feel after that. Just go try out other stuff and then revisit this fragrance. I believe this one is a true winner in my eyes. I can't stop sniffing it. When I wear this, I keep smelling myself. I absolutely love this fragrance. I've been testing it for 2 years. As you can see, I've worn a lot of juice. And I finally wanted to review it. And definitely this thing, I can't get enough of it. I could review this 3-4 years later. Bottle will be down to here. And I would still give this a absolutely amazing score. And let's go to Biochar Pass. What do you think, guys? Biochar Pass. Projection, longevity, great. Beast mode, scent's amazing. It's complex. It's something really different in the game. It's an absolute buy. It is worth your money, even though the price went a little higher now. It's $140 for a bottle. I think it is absolutely worth it. This is a buy. Let's go to the rating system and let's see if Chergui gets the perfect 10 and joins the perfect 10 club. Let's go. Guys, let's rate Chergui from Serge Lutens. As you can see, projection, longevity, this thing is beast mode. Projection, great, 9 bottles out of 10. This thing gives you a nice scent bubble, almost the whole life of the fragrance. Longevity, 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 10 plus hours. So I'm going to give this one 10 bottles out of 10. It's more than what I'm asking for. Versatility, one of the better versatile fragrances from the Serge Lutens house compared to a lot of other ones. 7 out of 10. Not the most versatile fragrance of all time, but still fairly good. Overall smell and compliments, this one's going to get perfect score of 10 out of 10. Seasons, I mainly wear this in the fall, but you can also wear it in the winter, and a spring night works very well. That hay-honey combo sets this apart from others, mainly that hay note. Could get cloying in the heat or when you're over-applying this fragrance. It is a masterpiece. I'm giving this one 10 bottles out of 10. Welcome to the Perfect 10 Club.